Hello friends, TechManPat here. I've been spending quality time with the Ecovacs Deebot T80 Omni, a robot vacuum mop combo that promises flagship features without the flagship price, unless you live in Australia. Priced at around 2,299 Australian dollaroos at Harvey Norman, this gizmo ain't exactly pocket change. For that money, you'd hope it vacuums, mops, and even tucks you in at night. So does the T80 Omni live up to the price, or is it just blowing hot air? Funnily enough, yes, actually, it has a hot air dryer. So let's dive in with my trademark hair accent and convoluted speech pattern. Thanks everyone who comments those. By that I mean, let's roll the intro and get started. Ecovacs basically took a bunch of high-end features from their ultra-premium X9 Pro Omni and stuffed them into the T80 Omni, then shaved off a few extras to obviously try and cut their cost. So the result? You get a near flagship automation for less money. The star of the show is the Osmo roller melt system. Unlike the usual pair of spinning mop pads, this is a single motorized roller acting like a little rolling pin scrubbing your floors. It's continuously wetted with clean water and has an internal squeegee to pull off the dirty water. The roller even extends out from the edges and automatically lifts when the T80 detects carpets. Basically, it lifts its mop like a gentleman stepping over a puddle. Now inside, the T800 packs a serious punch. A T80 packs a serious punch with Ecovacs blast motor tech. How serious? Well, it boosts 18,000 pascals of suction, roughly triple that of an average robot vacuum, but short of the top end, which kicks around that 25,000 to 30,000 pascals. Now, testing with playground sand on carpet, I estimate the suction removes about 80 to 90% of the sand in one pass across the carpets. Now, compared that to other vacs I tested, it's actually in the pretty good stage. Now, kicking on to larger debris, pet hair was no problem. The T80 picked up all the dog hair it could reach, and what I really liked is that it was not too smart to avoid large clumps of dog hair. It just eats them up. And in addition, which is really helpful, the Zero Tangle 3.0 brush meant virtually no hair got tangled in the roller. Now, speaking of maintenance, the bot comes with a fair-sized Omni station that handles the dirty work for you. Now, this base automatically empties the T80's dustbin as expected with bots like this into a 3-liter bag right here and washes the mop roller with hot water, then it dries it with hot air. It's like a mini car wash for your robot. And the dock even sort of cleans itself, but of course, if it gets too dirty, you can pop this bottom section out so you can scrub it yourself. The drawing with warm air really helps to reduce the smells. I've noticed that after the roller gets used a couple of times, if it's not dried, then it starts to smell. So it's good that this can do it. It reduces those smells that build up over time. Now, what about brains and navigation? The Deebot T80 Omni uses LiDAR plus a front-facing RGB camera with what you call 3D structured light for mapping and obstacle avoidance. It's just another way to be smarter about it. It maps your home precisely and generally dodges obstacles like a pro. In my experience, mapping was absolutely smooth by one item. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the T80 quickly crafted and created accurate floor plans, even offered a 3D view in the app. You can save multiple maps for multi-level homes, which I did since my house has a split-level design. That said, using the multi-map feature was a bit tricky at first, and the T80 just didn't know what to do with it. I first carried it down to map it as a separate floor, which is absolutely fine, but then it insisted on returning to the base and seemingly trying to reset itself, and after that it refused to start cleaning the sunken lounge unless I jumped through some oddly specific hoops. Eventually I figured out that I had to first set the map to the sunken lounge, then physically take it off the base, plop it down, and hit go. A bit of a puzzle. Usually bots recognize where they are and off they go. This is actually the first time I've had an Ecovacs bot act weird like this. It definitely feels like a software hiccup, not hardware at all, just a strange behavior. Now, when it comes to that obstacle avoidance, the T80 Omni is pretty clever. Most of the time, thanks to its camera, it can identify over 100 types of common floor obstacles, such as shoes, cords, socks, but not Lego, which means my son has a few missing pieces now. Now, in my testing, it smartly dodged at least 90% of obstacles. Obviously, if there's a bit more clutter, it might grab the corner of a sock. And in my home, there's a lot of clutter, the kids leave their toys, but it was a huge relief. It didn't try to bulldoze everything over, except it did catch on one cable. Other than that, it seemed really good. But look, the avoidance is solid, though not foolproof, as you can imagine. You still may want to pick up any particularly tricky items to prevent a robo tantrum. Now, features are fun, but the big question is, how well does the T80 Omni actually clean? So in my testing, pretty darn well. Vacuuming and mopping both impressed me, with only a couple caveats worth mentioning. But the roller mop, it's surprisingly effective. My favorite so far. I like those budget bots that just sort of wipe the floor, like they're petting it gently with the one scrubber. And after a single pass, the floor looked almost too clean, like it was silently judging me for ever letting it get so dirty. Of course, my kids undid all that in about 0.1 of a second flat, but hey, it tried. One feature I really appreciated is the mop arm actually extending out towards the edge. That's a fancy way of saying it reaches the places most robots abandon entirely. It's not perfect, but it's a solid better than average in the corners and along the walls. And because it's not just a circular mop that extends and leaves a big gap in the center, this just moves across a little bit and has enough coverage to do everything really nicely. That said, I did catch it slipping a little bit on my bathroom tiles. You see, deep crevices and grout lines, it's not its strong suit. Some fine debris was left behind. So if your floors look like a topographical map, it might struggle. Oh, and heads up, there's no automatic detergent dispenser. You'll have to pour in your own solution manually. Ecovacs does include an easy to spray bottle, and at first I was a bit let down by this. You know, it's more than $2,000 and no soap fairy, but on balance, it's simple and maybe even a blessing. There's less complexity, which means there's less chance of something breaking. Sometimes low tech is the smarter tech. So other than that, my gripes are really minor. These quirks aren't like deal breakers for me personally, but it's good to know if you're demanding absolute perfection from these robots. This leaves the question, is it worth it? If you're already looking at high-end robot vacuums, I'd say this should be on your list. The T80 Omni gives you a lot for the price. It delivers about 90% of what the price your X9 Pro Omni offers, including the roller mop, strong suction, and the all-singing, all-dancing self-washing dock. You lose a couple of luxury features, but for many, that's a wallet-safe trade-off. And that's where I'm going to leave you. Big thumbs up from me, and big thanks to Ecovacs for sending the T80 over for review. You're not a T800 evil robot, are you? Well, you'll go good one day. If you enjoyed this review, tap the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye!